Hi, I'm Chelsea.
And I'm Chris.
And we're from Love My Brit. And we're here today to talk about...
Do long distance relationships work?
Yes.
It's a very common question that anyone who is in a long distance relationship or has been will be asked at some point. Mm-hmm. It's a very familiar question. We've been asked it a lot. It's something we've talked about a lot as well because there are a lot of people out there who believe long distance relationships don't work, and it's something that we've tried our hardest through finding examples. We've looked up stats, we made an infographic about it to prove that long distance relationships can and do work.
Well, we're proof.
Yep.
Ours worked. I mean, it took a couple of years, but we're proof that it worked, and we know many couples who have closed the distance successfully all around the world.
Yeah.
Not just in the UK or just the US, but I mean, we know a lot of couples who close the distance, and it doesn't matter if they were dating for 1 year and closed the distance or 3 years and closed the distance. It still worked. They made it work for them. And we've talked previously about our long distance relationship advice, you can see here. And we kind of covered the topics that we thought were most important about maintaining a healthy relationship in long distance.
We talked about things like how the importance of communication, setting your initial objectives and goals and expectations of that relationship, and it's all of those things which contribute to a successful long distance relationship and eventually closing the distance.
Right. So, I mean, there are definitely situations that can come up that can create hardships on the couple. It could be that you just weren't meant to be together and you do break up, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's normal in any relationship. I don't think that has anything to do with the fact that long distance relationships are bad. It's just not everyone can fulfill their needs in a relationship like that.
Right. Or
they just weren't the right people for each other, and that's why you date. You date to get to know each other, and you date to figure out if this is the person that I'm compatible with. So I don't want to say that long distance relationships are likely to fail because of the distance aspect. I think it's just a normal thing all relationships go through. But people seem to have this negative stigma wrapped around long distance relationships because of the distance.
Yeah, because of the distance, and we've heard a lot of people say, well, I was in a long distance relationship once and it didn't work, and therefore no long distance relationships work. Mine didn't, so yours won't, and that is not a valid criticism of your relationship.
No.
Every long distance relationship is different, just like every relationship is different. If you had one bad experience dating, you probably wouldn't write off dating as a whole. So don't let people tell you that just because they had a bad experience with long distance relationships, that you will too.
Yeah.
Your relationship is your relationship.
I mean, everyone's entitled to their own opinion, but sometimes I feel that those opinions shouldn't be shared, or, you just kind of smile and nod. It's not worth wasting the energy trying to explain to somebody why you think their opinion is wrong or vice versa. So just, shrug it off and pretend like it didn't happen, but try not to get as emotionally invested in someone disagreeing with you and your relationship status.
Yeah.
I mean, long distance relationships can work. It's just like any other relationship. It takes commitment, trust, and time, but they do work.
One important thing to remember is that long distance relationships always need an end point.
They should close the gap at some point. It shouldn't be long distance forever.
There may be some people who are able to do that, but for most people in a long distance relationship, you need that end point for it to really work for you and to have something to look forward to and work towards. And that really helps in your relationship because
it's something to hold on to, you know, knowing that there is going to be an end to the separation.
Right.
no partner deserves, nor do they want to be separated from each other. It just happens to be that life put you there.
Yeah.
You know, we had the fortunate meeting circumstance where I met you in person before we even established a relationship, but not everybody has that luxury. But even then, a year into our relationship, we still started to see that the potential was there for us to be together
long
time, you know, permanently. So when we started to get serious is when we started talking about closing the distance. It wasn't the first thing on our agenda when we started dating, but when we realized that we felt we were meant to be together is when we had that serious talk. And it did make waiting through all those months and years easier.
Yeah.
You know, it wasn't necessarily that I had a date written on my calendar, but just knowing that we had a plan to close the distance really did help my sanity a little bit. Because you have days where you're a little bit more emotional than others and it's a little harder on you. So just knowing that you have an end date to look forward to is really great.
Yeah. And there's a few different types of long distance relationship. We had one where we met in person first. There's a lot of people who will meet online and
never met. And
the first exciting thing to look forward to there is your first meeting.
Yeah.
And sometimes that goes really, really well, and you can see yourself being with that person and wanting to close the distance. Sometimes it doesn't go so well, and there are things that you need to work on. But just because your meeting in person doesn't go as well as you might expect, that's not a reason to believe that long distance relationships don't work. It's as much about the people in the relationship as the circumstances around it.
Yeah. So if you feel that long distance relationships do or don't work, feel free to leave the comments for us below. Like the video if you enjoyed what we had to share, and subscribe for more videos if you want to continue to see us and talking about our lives.
Long distance relationships, expat life, life in the UK. Subscribe for more. And Apple.
If you love our dog, subscribe. Bye.
Bye.